It's now time to look at cost of goods sold as a profit and cash flow lever. Cost of goods sold, also known as cost of sales, are the expenses that vary up and down with the amount of sales. Sometimes they are also called direct costs because they are the expenses that can be directly attributed to the product or service that is being sold, the cost of selling it or the cost of producing it.
So, some tips on how to reduce your cost of goods sold. Number one, look for efficiencies in the use of materials. What are you wasting? How can you use your materials better? Drive efficient processes to make best use of labour. If you've got someone who does one particular thing, keep them busy and make sure you're not wasting their time. Define, refine, and practice best process. Training your team is a valuable resource that you can use in your business because by practicing best process, they're actually reducing the costs. Automate any repetitive, costly processes. Consider using outsourced talent. Outsourced talent can often be brought in to do some of those processes that are costly but unable to be automated in a cost-effective way. Use the cheapest possible in-house talent. Train your team to upskill so that you have more than one person who's capable of doing a job. Source less expensive materials. Join buying cooperatives to make use of group buying power. Reduce waste in the production process. Reduce the amount of materials that you store and reduce the amount of transport costs. Reduce how much it costs you to store the materials as well. Use excess stock or warehousing capacity to be a distribution service for others.
Time for some examples. Firstly, a product-based business. A chocolatier created fine handcrafted chocolates. One of their main ingredients was becoming noticeably more expensive, and they used a lot of it. By reviewing arrangements with a wholesaler, they were able to find comparable products at a cheaper price. They didn't necessarily want to change suppliers though, because if their supply was interrupted, they wouldn't have a product to sell. So they went back to their main supplier with some of the samples and asked them to match the prices from a competitor. As the chocolatier was a large customer for this supplier, the supplier was invested in keeping the business happy, and the chocolatier reduced the cost of making the chocolate without impacting supply or compromising the quality of the product. A service-based business. Cost of goods sold includes the labour and materials that goes into producing a product or service. In the personal training space, delivery of sessions is part of the cost of sales. This is also relevant for business coaches. Not all accounting and bookkeeping processes track the cost of labour as cost of sales, but it's really important to look at that to get a real idea of the margin that the business is making. And a virtual business. Shipping costs for this online store were making some of the product lines for the store unprofitable. The freight costs varied up and down, and quite often there were products that needed to be destroyed when they went out of date. By moving to a drop shipping model where they use a white label store that their major supplier set up, The health products are able to be distributed straight from the supplier to the customer, but under the brand of the health practitioner. No more freight costs and no more wastage.
So let's take a look at our Power of One example for our sample business. You can see here that reducing the cost of goods has made a marked difference to this business, with over $56,000 shift just by reducing the cost of goods by 1%. That's a significant improvement in cash flow and also in profit. In this example, it's showing us that for this business, cost of goods is a significant issue and therefore must be considered when creating a strategic cash flow management plan. We can also see by this example that reducing the cost of goods sold would significantly improve the profit, and in fact, every % of reduction of cost of goods would improve it by nearly $47,000. And you can see here that just a 3.5% reduction would actually bring this business into a cash flow positive position. And it would also generate an improvement in profit of over $164,000. Remember, if you would like to take the opportunity to have your own numbers put through the Power of One tool to help you focus your strategic cash flow management, simply click on the Power of One link you will find in this lesson. So, our takeaways. The focus on the cost of goods sold exercise is about refining the time and materials that go into making your product or service so that you are using your resources efficiently. Focus on refining your processes to drive efficiency. Reduce the waste that you have in your systems of time and resources, and automate and outsource. If you repeat the exercise in our calculator regularly, you'll find that you undertake a process of continual improvement, leading to better processes and eventually more scalable business. Identifying the most profitable product lines on which to focus your time and energy will help you to prioritize your business spending and will actually help you to influence your capacity planning as well. And remember, if you need any more help, you can contact us at hello@cashflowers.com. Our next lesson moves into our timing levers and the power that our connections can have.